The municipality of Santa Cruz in Davao del Sur is home to the community of Barangay Mililla, a community rich in agriculture and culture. Barangay Mililla is an approximate 1-hour drive of 30 kilometers and a journey of cemented and slightly rough roads from Davao City. It is an upland community resided primarily by Bagobo descents and Muslims.
Interpersonal communication through face-to-face interaction dominates the daily lives of locals residing in this area. They find chatting as a dominant pastime whenever they are not working in the farms or doing household responsibilities. They even walk distances, as houses are not close to each other, in order to tap fellows to just sit and talk. There are monthly assemblies for members of associations and other groups that residents belong to. These associations include senior citizens and church groups. Here, public communication is being practiced in the community. In terms of mass media, radio is the main source of information from the poblacion and city areas. Newspapers seldomly reach the upland as news publishing companies do not actually deliver to these far-flung areas. Television is another source of news and entertainment. However, middle-class families are the only ones who could afford to buy television sets. Others would have to ask these families to let them watch a television with them or outside their windows.
Cellular phones are also accessible to at least half of the population of the barangay. With its presence, contacting people becomes easier, especially if they live too far from the communicator.
Way back, this community did not even have electricity, making it troublesome to communicate to those who live almost at the peak or to those who live far below. The availability of media, in this case radio and phones, and the installation of electricity has paved the way to more opportunities for this community.
They are able to hear news and engage in public affairs and enjoy music and dramas through radios.
They are able to communicate easily to people, especially those who live in the poblacion area when they need to. The request for delivery of equipment and medicines for the Barangay Health Center became faster than before. Despite the significant contribution to the progress of the community, communication and media is still challenged in many ways. Residents have identified that the prevalence of interpersonal communication has paved the way for gossips and rumors to spread like wildfire in the community. This has led to conflicts between the members and has affected how the community has interacted.
Although cellular phones are accessible, cellular networks are weak in the highlands. There are only portions of the area that has an access to network signals, and if there is, it is weak, amounting to only 1 bar in the range, and most of the time none.
The sounds produced by the radio gets choppy when it rains hard in the community. It makes it difficult to decipher the news delivered in the radio, or worse, they cannot receive any information or news at all.
There are reports already of launching 5G networks in the Philippines by the year 2019. This is good news for many of us who lives in urbanized areas such as the city and those in the poblacion.
However, before venturing out to developing the current network systems, cellular companies should look into the areas that are still struggling with their network signals, such as Barangay Mililla. It is their only way to communicate effectively, and yet they still have difficulties to even send a single text message.
On August 2018, it was reported that a memorandum of understanding was signed to expand broadband services to rural areas, which is a good step towards development of rural areas. Then again, before we improve, we need to fix the ongoing problem, since it would still take time for expansions to happen.
Most studies and researches focus on urbanized places and the continuous development of technologies for it. It is understandable since media plays a vital role in the daily lives of those in the city. However, this does not mean that rural areas do not need them as well. This is the perfect time to strengthen rural communication researches in the country. Not only would it help the community of Barangay Mililla, but also other areas that have experienced the same problem. I am CAPUNO, BA Communication and Media Arts, UP Mindanao, and this is my call to rural communication research in the Philippines.